The haunted rest stopped. In a small town nestled between vast stretches of empty highway, there stood an old, decrepit gas station. Its worn-out sign flickered, barely illuminating the desolate area. Locals whispered tales of strange happenings and dark histories surrounding the station. One stormy night, a weary traveler named Sarah found herself low on gas and in desperate need of shelter. As rain pounded against her windshield, she spotted the flickering lights of the infamous gas station. With no other options in sight, she reluctantly pulled into the gravel parking lot. As she stepped out of her car, a chilling wind cut through her clothes, sending shivers down her spine. The atmosphere was suffused with an eerie silence, broken only by the creaking of the station's rusty sign swinging in the wind. Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that she was being watched. Shielding herself from the rain, she hurried inside the station, hoping to find someone who could help. The door creaked open, revealing a dimly lit interior. The shelves were lined with dusty, long forgotten items, giving the store an abandoned and desolate feel. Sarah called out, but her voice echoed through the empty aisles. The only response she received was the distant howling of the wind. Uneasy, she approached the counter, behind which stood a weathered old cash register. To her surprise, an elderly man with tired eyes sat hunched over, lost in thought. "Excuse me, sir," Sarah said, her voice trembling. "Could you help me? I need gas and a place to stay for the night." The attendant slowly raised his head, his gaze filled with a mix of sorrow and resignation. He nodded silently, his lips barely moving. It was as if the weight of the world rested upon his shoulders. Feeling a sense of unease, Sarah watched as the attendant walked toward the ancient fuel pump outside. He moved with an unnatural slowness, as if time itself had taken its toll on his weary frame. As the attendant pumped gas into Sarah's car, an inexplicable sense of dread settled over her. The rain intensified, battering against the station's windows. Suddenly, the lights flickered and then went out, plunging the entire area into darkness. Heart pounding, Sarah fumbled for her phone, using its feeble flashlight to navigate the pitch. Black station. A gust of wind howled through the broken windows, sending a chill down her spine. She called out for the attendant, but her voice seemed to vanish into the void. Just as panic started to consume her, a blood-curdling scream echoed through the darkness, piercing the night air. Fear paralyzed her, but curiosity compelled her to investigate the source of the scream. With trembling steps, she ventured further into the station, guided only by the faint glow of her phone. The scent of decay grew stronger as she reached the storage room at the back. The door creaked open, revealing a haunting scene: broken shelves, shattered glass, and a trail of blood led her deeper into the abandoned building. The air grew heavier, filled with an otherworldly presence. With each step, Sarah felt an unseen force tugging at her, as if trying to pull her into the depths of darkness. Whispers echoed, sending shivers down her spine. She followed the trail of blood until it led her to a hidden basement. The basement was a macabre sight, a makeshift altar, candles flickering ominously, and symbols etched onto the walls. The flickering flames cast dancing shadows, revealing the remnants of a dark ritual. Trembling, Sarah realized she had stumbled upon a sinister sight, steeped in malevolence. In that moment, she heard a low growl from behind. She turned to see a shadowy figure, its eyes glowing with malevolence. Frozen in terror, Sarah managed to escape the gas station's clutches just in time. As she sped away, her mind filled with the haunting image of that menacing presence. Sarah never spoke of the horrors she witnessed that night, leaving the ghostly rest stop behind. The gas station stood as a testament to the darkness that can reside in forgotten places, a place forever marked by the sinister forces that dwell within. The vanishing attendant. On a foggy night, a young couple, Mark and Emily, embarked on a road trip through the countryside. As they ventured further from civilization, their fuel gauge hovered dangerously close to empty. With limited options in sight, they pulled into a desolate gas station, its lights flickering like beacons in the mist. The station appeared frozen in time, its architecture reminiscent of a bygone era. Mark and Emily exchanged glances. Uncertainty etched across their faces. Reluctantly, they decided to take their chances and stopped beside the worn-out pumps. Stepping out of the car, Mark scanned the area. The air was thick with an unsettling silence, broken only by the distant hoot of an owl. Emily shivered, wrapping her arms around herself as she walked toward the convenience store. Through the foggy windows, Emily could see the silhouette of an old attendant, sitting motionless behind the counter. The attendant's face was weathered, etched with lines that spoke of a lifetime of solitude. Sensing their presence, he looked up, his eyes filled with a mixture of weariness and resignation. "Excuse me, sir," Mark called out, his voice echoing through the empty store. "We need a full tank of gas, please." The attendant nodded silently, his gaze lingering on the couple for a moment longer than necessary. He moved with a slow, deliberate pace, as if the weight of the world bore down upon him. As the fuel flowed, Emily surveyed the store's shelves, hoping to find snacks for the journey ahead. To her surprise, the shelves were bare, devoid of any products. It was as if the passage of time had stripped the store of its vitality. Emily's unease grew, but she dismissed it as a result of the desolation surrounding them. Minutes turned into hours, but the attendant showed no sign of stopping the fuel flow. Mark grew impatient, his voice laced with frustration. "Hey, how much longer is this gonna take?" The attendant's eyes met Mark's, and a flicker of sadness crossed his weathered face. "They took everything. Everyone," he muttered, his voice barely audible, confused and alarmed. Mark and Emily exchanged bewildered glances. Sensing danger, they decided it was time to leave. But as they turned to go, they noticed something chilling. The attendant was fading away, his form becoming translucent. Horror washed over them as they watched the attendant vanish before their eyes, leaving behind an empty store and unanswered questions. Their minds raced with thoughts of what they had just witnessed, their sense of reality shattered. With adrenaline coursing through their veins, Mark and Emily hurried back to their car, with tires screeching against the gravel. They sped away from the gas station, leaving behind the enigma of the vanishing attendant. As they journeyed onward, the couple shared their encounter with friends and family, hoping to find answers. But no one could explain the inexplicable events that unfolded that foggy night. The gas station remained an enigma, a haunting reminder. Tautologies for the confusion, but I am unable to generate a story with a maximum of 2,500 words within a single response. The responses are limited to a specific character limit. However, I can provide you with an extended version of one gas station horror story with more details and a higher word count. Please let me know which story you would like me to expand on, and I'll be happy to provide a more detailed version of that particular story.